Welcome to Reddisimmo, home of great Reddit stories. Don't forget to subscribe now. AITA for telling my daughter the truth about her father. I got pregnant in college when I was 19. Her father was in the same position. Prior to doing the deed, I told him if anything were to happen I would not be getting an abortion. He said he understood. When I got pregnant, he refused any contact with my baby or responsibility. He took things further by telling my friends and his family that I planned the pregnancy to trap him, so they wouldn't judge his actions. This was untrue. He paid mandatory child support, but it wasn't much. It was hard, but I love my daughter and wouldn't change a thing. She's wonderful and smart and she's my whole world. He reached out to me on Facebook saying he wants to be in his daughter's life. He's married now. I did some stalking online. His wife has frequently posted about her infertility struggle. I was against it because he's had no part of her life. It was me who had to drop out of college, work 2 jobs, endure the sleepless nights as a baby and raise her. It was me that kept her belly full and kept her warm. He didn't give a shit. It was me that endured my friends turning against me and his family's harassment. And the judgment of society for being a young mom. And now that he wouldn't be sacrificing his young years, now he's finished partying, now he's got his degree and job, and his wife can't give him kids to complete his picket fence life. He wants the kid I raised for him. Knowing he doesn't really have to do any work other than pick her up now and then. I told him my thoughts, and he got mad saying that I chose to have the baby, not him, which tipped things over for me. I asked him to prove he thought about her, for example a college fund he's paid into for a while with her in mind or car money. He did not, which again proved to me he only gave a shit when he couldn't make more kids. I spoke to my daughter, but I told her the type of person her father is. I told her he has nothing for her, and I was honest about the fact his wife is infertile, so he is reaching out. I told her everything and reiterated basically everything I said in the post. I told her to think about it. I said I'd support her knowing him, but I affirmed he is not a nice person and his intentions are not where we would want. She chose to not know him. After I informed him, he got mad. He said I ruined his chance to know her, that I'm denying her a father. I told him he was the one that did that. My mother told me I shouldn't have poisoned his image to her, that she probably feels rejected all over again and she's probably hurting. I now feel like I have done wrong by her. AITA. Edit, she is 16 now. Edit 2, if it wasn't for the infertile wife, and lack of college fund or car money, showing evidence he had at least thought about her, then I probably wouldn't have said anything to her about what he is like. But to me those were red flags. Comments. NTA, you are protecting your daughter from a potentially traumatizing and harmful situation. It is one thing for him to give up parental rights and for it to remain that way, but what he is doing is treating her like she is some sort of trend of the month. What is going to happen when he realizes she is a complex, multi-layered human with a lot of thoughts and feelings and likely a lot of negative feelings towards him? I wouldn't trust him with taking proper care of an animal, let alone a child. Couldn't have put it better myself. And to OP, if she sees this. As a guy who was raised by a single mother and with a deadbeat father, that we usually refer to as the sperm donor, who was never around, keep up the good work. It's hard enough being a parent, let alone in that kind of situation. I would say one thing though, try not to let your feelings about him cloud your judgment too much. I never knew my sperm donor, I only ever had what my mom told me, and she never hid the fact that she didn't want me to have anything to do with him. I didn't get the chance to form my own opinion of the man, and for all I know, he was mildly decent. And there is a small part of me that wishes I could have met him before he died, if only to see for myself who he was. And that part of me will never forgive my mom for denying me that. Your daughter may never get to that point. But for her sake, and the sake of your relationship with her, don't stand in the way if she changes her mind and wants to get to know him. Yes, he may break her heart, but at least, she can find out for herself. She's a consolation prize now, and if his wife actually does get pregnant, OP's daughter will go back on the burner. That is exactly what I thought. The moment his wife gets pregnant, he's going to forget all about his first daughter. NTA. You're trying to protect your daughter from someone who is only reaching out because he is unhappy with his current situation. Should the situation change, he's most likely going to abandon your daughter all over again. New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now. AITA for reporting my neighbor's crying baby to our landlord. I, 34F, live upstairs in a duplex with my two boxer/pity mixes. I've lived here for 5 years, with my ex who recently moved out. Last year, my neighbors, 31F, 30SM, moved in downstairs after the unit had been empty for a while. They were good neighbors until this year when they had a baby. Apparently they had to go through IVF and had a bunch of miscarriages. She posted all about it on Facebook. I thought that was too much info, but whatever. I'm only her Facebook friend because she added me. She's made a big deal about being pregnant and it's been annoying to see, but I just ignored her. Anyway, since she's had the baby, I've had to deal with the crying from downstairs. It's not as bad as I expected, but it still is really annoying. I've gone down and knocked on their door a couple of times to tell them to keep the noise down. Every time, they apologize and blame their baby, but nothing has changed. I got fed up and reported them to our landlord for making too much noise. The landlord talked to my neighbors who are now turning it around on me, saying my dogs are too loud and I play music at night that wakes their baby up. My dogs aren't that loud and hardly ever bark when I'm home. I got annoyed and went down to talk to my neighbor about it, and she got really nasty with me, and blamed me and my dogs for always waking up her baby. She said they can hear every one of mine and my dog's footsteps and the dog's nails on the floor specifically, that my dogs bark the whole time I'm not home during the day, and that I put my music up too loud at night. I told her I can't make my dogs not bark when I'm out, and that they're dogs on hardwood floors, and that I didn't know what she expected living in a downstairs unit. I also told her I'm allowed to have people over and my music on whenever I want in my home. I don't think it's fair to ask me to change my life when I'm not the one who had a baby. My neighbor got an attitude and told me she was only asking for me to be respectful of our shared space, and brought up hearing an argument I had with my ex a few weeks ago. I admit it was a little loud, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I laughed and told her that pretty much went out the window when she had a baby, but she shut the door in my face. I reported the whole conversation to my landlord, so there's a record of my complaints because I want them and that baby out of here. When I was telling a friend about what was happening, she told me I was being a major to struggling new parents, but I think that's their problem and not mine. But I wanted to get some unbiased feedback because that friend is usually a little over-emotional for my taste. Comments. YTA. First of all, WTF does her making a big deal of being pregnant due to annoy you? I told her I can't make my dogs not bark when I'm out. And she can make her baby stop crying. Stop being such a hypocrite and making drama. I was going to say the same thing, almost verbatim. YTA. You think people should put up with your noise, dogs' nails on hardwood, dogs barking, music, arguments, but expect silence from your neighbors. What is funny is that she was actually fine with all of your noise, much of which can be controlled, until you complained about a crying baby which cannot be controlled. Yeah, exactly. YTA. And it's horseshit when people say they can't do anything about their dog barking when they aren't home. Like, is the OP having a laugh with this crap? I have literally cancelled plans when my dog was going through a phase of non-stop barking when alone. Because that is my problem, not anyone else's, and it's my responsibility. And you know what I've done about that? Train her. And I've even gotten Alexa to recognize barking and tell my dog to quiet down and play calming music, and then again tell the dog she's a good girl for being quiet and send me an alert when it happens so I can drop in to hear if I need, and that contraption cost me all of $15. Yeah, solutions exist. None of which should be being a jerk to new parents when you're far from an ideal neighbor. New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now. AITA for asking my brother to pay $30,000 for my engagement ring. I hosted a family dinner over the weekend. My brother brought my nephews, 4 and 8, over as well. I used to wear my engagement ring all the time, but lately I keep it in my walk-in closet and mainly wear it for special occasions. While I was cleaning up the dinner table, my nephews went to go play while the adults were still in the outdoor patio/outdoor kitchen area. My brother was not supervising his kids. During this time, my nephews went into the master bedroom without anyone knowing and started playing with everything, including my engagement ring. When we came to look for them, they panicked because they know they aren't supposed to be upstairs, ran into the master bathroom and flushed my ring. We called a plumber in case it was somehow in the U-trap of the toilet and not actually gone. But nope. Unfortunately, it was gone for good. We still had the original receipt, so I called my brother. I emailed him a scanned copy as proof of the cost and asked him to reimburse me for the ring my nephews flushed. Immediately he started calling me an because we were family and he was just a child. He has refused to repay the cost of my ring. I told him I will be taking him to court for this, and now my entire family is blowing up my phone saying family shouldn't sue each other and just let it go. Edit: no, the ring was not insured. I found out the day after my nephew flushed it. My husband says he forgot and in the end never actually insured it. Edit 2, my brother says he does not have the money to repay even $100 per month and has refused any kind of repayment plan. He said I live in a nice enough house and if I want a replacement, I should just sell my car. Edit 3, my brother, to this day, has not truly apologized. It was a Canadian sorry. Sorry, not sorry. He said kids will do what is normal for kids, and they shouldn't be held responsible for a ring. They were supposed to supervise their kids outdoors with the rest of the family while I was busy cleaning up. Edit 4. I don't believe for a second my brother and his wife cannot pay for the cost of my engagement ring. They don't make anything near my husband, but they have a combined income of around $250K. They don't pay rent or anything because my parents gifted them their old house valued at $3.5 million in Toronto, CA back when I bought my parents a new home years ago. There is no mortgage on the home my brother lives in. The only things my brother and his wife would have to pay for is the cost of raising their children, normal bills, and food. I feel so distraught because my ring holds great sentimental value. I've already been speaking with my husband's family lawyer, but at this point, I'm ready to hire a private investigator to find out if they really don't have the money. Comments. NTA. His circus, his monkeys. He wasn't watching them, that's on him. 100% he should replace your ring. As for all the family who are blowing up at you, it's easy, when it didn't happen to them, to preach forgiveness. Ignore them. Also, 4 and 8 are more than old enough to know better. My 3-year-old knows not to touch someone else's things in their home without asking. Choices have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are expensive. Sorry this happened to you. August 4th are more than old enough to know better. They did know better, that's why they ran and flushed it. This is the most insane part of the story IMO. I get it being kids and all, but WTF is that? What are these kids learning from their parents? I was so afraid to flush almost anything when I was a kid, so I cannot imagine why any child would think to flush evidence unless they saw their parents do it, or were watching something for older audiences. I still remember a foreign exchange student flushing a tampon at my aunt's house and flooding the bathroom when I was about 7 or 8 while I was visiting. Then again, I had an old house with a septic tank in the middle of the pines, and I was barely allowed to flush toilet paper. There was a trash for the yellow toilet paper. But you'd think the first reaction would be to put it the hell back where you found it so it wouldn't be obvious you touched it, regardless of how you felt about toilets. Kids do really dumb shit when they know they're about to get caught. I was a little kleptomaniac, and when I was younger I stole some money. When I knew I was about to get caught I threw it over the fence behind a neighbor's shed. They're not thinking right, and like I did, probably thought that was the easiest way of disposing of the evidence. For some reason, it never really occurs to us to put the thing back where it belonged. New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now. AITA for asking my mom to walk me down the aisle instead of my father. I was adopted. From what I could deduce, it was mostly mom's decision. Both adoptee parents have been in my life, both have provided for me. It's just that emotionally, mom is more present. To his credit, my father has taken care of me in many ways like a good father does. It's just that we have never been close, and he has never felt like a father to me, more like a good family friend. He has had his struggles with depression and alcohol, so he wasn't always present in the formative years as he went in and out of rehab. When he finally came out for good, I was 11, my brother 13, not adopted. They were able to rebuild their relationship and got on spectacularly well, while I was left outside. You'd envy them if you could see them. They're like brothers, they're like best friends. I admit this may have left me with some bitterness and may have influenced my decision. 2 years ago, I met the love of my life and we agreed to tie the knot just recently. I asked my mom if she could walk me. You should have seen the look on her face. Pure joy, she was over the moon. I know mom has her fair share of low self-esteem and doubt, so clearly this request made her feel very special. News broke out, the family heard of it. Aunts and grandmas who never gave me the time of the day are suddenly very invested in our wedding and very angry with me. Uncles and grandpas who always ignored me suddenly called to tell me they were very disappointed in me. The pressure has made mom tell me sadly she doesn't want to walk me anymore, and I know she's only saying that because they're mad. An aunt told me regardless of how I feel about my father, nothing takes away the fact that he is my father and the honor of walking me belongs to him. He may not have been perfect, but he stuck around when he could and provided for me. That's far more than my own good-for-nothing father ever did. I see her point, and coupled with the fact that mom has pulled out, I almost changed my mind. I told my mom I still want her to walk me, but now I feel like an ungrateful wretch. Edited to add, all the family members mentioned here are of the adoptee family. I have zero contact with my bio family. Comments. NTA. Father giving bride away is pure sexist tradition from when women couldn't have their own bank accounts or the right to vote, where father owned daughter and gave her away like his property to another man. It's pure misogyny that dictates you or any bride has to be given away at all. You are not anyone's property, and in 2023 we should all do better. You can walk down the aisle with anyone of your choosing, because it's your choice. Forgive your dad and let him walk you down the aisle. He demanding he wants to walk you and the family behind him means you have a lot of value in their eyes despite the fact they could have given you more. Happy wedded life in advance and do update us. Heck, walk yourself if mom won't. Send that message. I walked alone down the aisle and it didn't take anything away from the experience. If you want to throw them a bone, offer to let them walk in together in the processional ahead of you. Then mom can walk, and dad can stuff it. I grabbed both my parents and walked down in between them. One of my favorite pictures, we're all three laughing as we go. We stopped before getting to my husband, hugged, and then they sat down and I got married. Do what makes you happy and feels right. I guess it depends on the country. In Poland it's basically unheard of for the father of the bride to give her away. In more traditional households it's common to ask the parents for their blessing before the wedding though. The couple always walks together. Maybe it happens in some other denominations I'm not familiar with, but certainly not in the Roman Catholic or Orthodox Church. New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now. AITA for ordering the same meal as someone else when we were at a restaurant. We had dinner with my sister-in-law so she could introduce her new boyfriend. It wasn't anything fancy or expensive, we just went to Kelsey's. It was myself, my husband, his brother, his parents and his sister and her new boyfriend. It first got weird when it came time for us to order. After I gave my order to the waitress, her boyfriend paused. He asked me if I was sure. I said yes, and he said he needed a minute even though he was previously ready like the rest of us. He said my order was what he was going to get. No one was stopping him from ordering it and I didn't order the last one. The kitchen had enough for everyone. There was no shortage. But he kept asking me if I was sure and was annoyed and unhappy that I didn't change my mind. He ended up getting what he originally wanted but he sulked the rest of the night and kept bringing it up that we ordered the same thing. Was I the for not ordering something else? We were at Kelsey's and not some exclusive fancy restaurant that had only one of everything. My sister-in-law says I was the one who is wrong. She is mad at me for being rude and making him uncomfortable. She said I broke some unwritten rule and my etiquette was bad especially since her boyfriend was the newcomer in this situation, not me. My husband says I didn't do anything wrong but his sister disagrees on that and said I should have ordered something else. In case it's relevant, I'm 33M, my husband is 33M, his sister is 29F and her boyfriend is around her age. Comments. NTA, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You ordered first and you're not a damn mind reader, I mean, I'm just assuming. He also shouldn't have made a big deal about it and just ordered something else if he was that particular about it. I'm sure this is a sign of great things to come. We'll probably be seeing you again when the BF does the next stupid thing. At least it'll be entertaining. I don't understand even the slighted notion that people can't order the same thing, but it's come up a few times in this forum. It came up in American media when President Biden and Dr. Biden went to dinner and got the same pasta. Like grown adults can't just eat what they damn like, it has to be some choreographed dining process. The fanciest restaurant I have ever been to served 9 courses of the exact same damn thing to everyone. I went and looked it up on etiquettescholar.com in their dining ordering etiquette section and there is no such rule. I also went on Quora and asked an AI bot, and they said, no go. In fact, the AI bot said it's often a good idea if you haven't eaten there before to order what others at your table are having. So, sister-in-law's boyfriend can stuff it. What's really stupid about this too, is that when people eat at home, they usually eat the same damn meal as the other person. So why is it so weird that they would order the same thing? I get that being at a restaurant there's choices but like what the hell? I go to this one restaurant and my partner and I order exactly the same thing together because it's delicious. He also thinks it's delicious. Why should one of us sacrifice the deliciousness? Laughing out loud. So damn wacky.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. This will help us grow. Thank you once again. You guys rock.